In studio with New York Times best-selling author John Gilstrap.
Good morning, sir.
Retired firefighter, safety engineer. Also, Jefferson County prosecuting attorney Matt Harvey with no criminal jurisdiction here at this program. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. I retain my citizen's arrest powers, though.
Always handy to have. Can any citizen make a citizen arrest, literally? Can you literally make a citizen arrest?
We have had this discussion before, and I'm always hesitant to encourage people to take the law into their own hands. But yes, there is. It's recognized that citizens can make arrests for breaches of the peace committed in their presence.
Including detaining them, like actually arresting them, locking them in a room?
Holding them for the local constabulary
Wow.
to arrive. That's kind of how, and I use that word constabulary on purpose to highlight that it's an old and kind of legal concept.
Yes. Yeah.
It that predated 911 and.
So then does it become a burden of
don't even get into it.
No,
half an hour interview.
Then the person has to defend that it was not a false arrest. Right?
Our next guest
Okay.
is Mark O'Hearn. He is the president of WVU Medicine East. He joins us via telephone. Mark, good morning. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear me okay?
I can. It sounds like sometimes there's a semi passing you. Are you on the highway?
No, sir, not at all. But I'll try and speak up so everybody can hear me very clearly.
Yeah, your voice is nice and clear. Mark, have you ever made a citizen's arrest? As we were talking about this subject.
I'll plead the fifth on that, sir.
Smart.
That's okay.
I think that's a smart move. Yeah. Hey, I just have a press release in front of me that says that WVU Medicine is about to sink $460 million into new capital projects to expand healthcare access across West Virginia. Where will you be expanding healthcare access, Mark?
Yeah, thanks so much. It's a transformational investment. Last year, I'll remind folks that WVU Medicine Health System made a separate $400 million commitment. So this is 2 years in a row of really substantial investments into our community and residents. A couple of the new projects that are on the docket this year, Wheeling Hospital and Reynolds Memorial Hospital are going to create a $123 million WVU Cancer Institute regional cancer center for Ohio County. Wheeling Hospital is also partnering with WVU Medicine Children's to create an outpatient pediatric center. That's about a $16, $17 million project. And then United Hospital Center is building about a 50,000 square foot outpatient surgery center for Harrison County residents, estimate around $50 million. Summersville Regional Medical Center is going to be getting an outpatient expansion. But most importantly, and why I'm with you both today, is that the majority of the capital, over $260 million of it, is actually coming into the Panhandle and will be invested in Berkeley and Jefferson counties. And these are projects that our team has been envisioning and really planning for over the last couple of years. The first of which is a $200 million investment in Berkeley Medical Center to create a new patient tower. As many know, Berkeley Medical Center is very busy. We have a tremendous amount of population growth. I've come on your show before and talked about this. So we're going to increase the bed count at the campus from 190 beds to 316 beds and turn everybody into a private room from semi-private rooms, which is another huge investment and exciting for the campus. This project will include a new linear accelerator for cancer treatment. We're also going to be redesigning the emergency department and including a dedicated pediatric emergency department waiting room. And then parking, of course. Parking is a key for us to be successful. So we will be adding up to 450 parking spots for the Berkeley Tower.
Well, and will those be elevated, like parking garage kind of spots?
So right now we're going to add all flat surface parking. The good news is we have a wide footprint, a large campus. We will be adding shuttle services too, and most of that parking is actually going to be for our employees. So we're going to relocate our employee parking over to the other side of the street and some of these other adjacent lots with shuttles. That will offer up really on-campus parking for all of our patients and visitors.
And the press release, it says that by the time you conclude this expansion, you will have created over 550 jobs over the next 5 years?
Yes, and those 550 jobs, obviously, we're talking about nurses, we're talking about techs, we're talking about security, physicians, et cetera. It also includes the Jefferson Medical Center, which I also want to mention that as part of the tower project, we're also investing over $60 million in Jefferson County. This will include a 3-story building on the main hospital campus proper. We're going to be adding medical office exam rooms there, ancillary services, comprehensive imaging, and we're also going to be adding a new infusion and cancer center suite, part of the WVU Cancer Institute. We're going to be modernizing the campus, improving parking, and really having a one-stop shop for Jefferson County where they can come if they need inpatient care, but really all of their outpatient, primary, and subspecialty care available on that campus.
Tell me about the improvements to the emergency department.
Emergency department, again, for both emergency departments, we're really focused on making sure that we have great throughput, we have a great experience. As needed, we are able to consult a variety of different specialty providers to see if the patient's going to need to be admitted or not. Both campuses, the emergency departments, will be looking at expansion opportunities. This allows for more throughput. This allows for also adjacent, what we call observation units, folks that might have to stay a day, 24 hours, but don't necessarily have to be admitted. So there's a ton of work going on at both campuses and both emergency departments. We have really fantastic board-certified emergency medicine physicians, and so excited about the emergency departments going forward.
What are your start and completion dates for the Jefferson and the Berkeley projects?
So for Berkeley, the tower, we're going to be breaking ground on the parking in August of this year. The tower construction will begin November of 2025 and projected to open the new tower in early 2028. Those are conservative estimates. Of course, we're going to try and beat those timelines. And then for the Jefferson campus, we're going to begin our cancer center project actually this summer. We're going to plan to open it in early 2026. And the new medical office building, that 3-story medical tower I mentioned to you, we're planning to begin that at the beginning of 2026, opening early 2028.
John Gilstrap.
Good morning. Quite an impressive slate of projects there. Where does the $260 million come from?
So, the health system obviously is going to be supporting funding for these. So we will typically we'll issue bonds for those. We will take out debt on those for the health system. And then we will also tap into reserves in some cases as well. But this is all funds from within the health system.
And hypothetically, if certificate of need, which is a hot hot debate during the legislative session, if it had been shot down or eliminated, would these projects have been endangered?
I would say that CON, and I've talked about this a lot. I mean, CON, I think, would significantly disadvantage the state of West Virginia. I think it would put health systems like ours in a very challenging predicament because we would really erode margin, that margin obviously now being reinvested into the community, into our buildings and facilities. It absolutely would make these types of investments a lot more challenging.
And you, in the new patient tower, you mentioned it's going to be private rooms instead of semi-private rooms. Is there a medical reason for that, or is it just for the privacy of the patients?
I would say that it's both for sure. The new standard, certainly across the country, is to have private rooms, both for privacy from a HIPAA perspective. So, if you have a curtain separating you from some other individual you don't know and they're talking about their personal medical information, from a quality and safety perspective in terms of infection control prevention. There's also issues with bed capacity when we have dual occupancy. If we have individuals based upon their sex, based upon any conditions that they may have, that they would be limited to a single room, or we could only put one patient in a room. It really, I think, hamstrings us in terms of how much capacity we have, how many patients that we can care for. And then obviously just having that level of privacy and quiet a lot of the healing, we need quiet, calm spaces. And if you have another patient, they're going through different parts of their care, and that's disrupting the other patient. There's a lot of negative things that I think can happen from semi-private. So this is really the standard of care, and this is where we want to move forward for Berkeley. And
is the goal to convert the current semi-private rooms into private rooms as well?
Yes, that will be part of it, and sprucing up those existing rooms and turning them into private rooms.
Mark, this is Matt Harvey. On the Berkeley campus, where will the construction take place? Are you going to expand the footprint of the current tower, or is there another parcel that you're going to build on?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're actually going to come out towards Tavern Road, if you're familiar with the campus. So our main entry point, we're actually going to be building the bed tower out there where we have current parking.
Okay.
We'll be connected to the existing tower via several bridges, and it will actually be designed in a way that it will look like a sort of a single contiguous building between the two campuses. And we will have 4 stories of the new building actually will be the same height as our existing tower. And a lot of the reason for that is new standards and size of height of floors, et cetera, makes it such that, that will be the same size. So coming off 81, you will actually see the new bed tower, and we'll be putting a PR out a little bit later this morning that will have an active website for folks to go to. They'll be able to see some renderings of the new bed tower as well as of the new Jefferson Medical Office building.
And I heard, excuse me, that you mentioned that there's $60 million investment into Jefferson County. Does any of that include any sort of building or improvements to the property on Route 9?
Yeah, so we're going to be really pivoting from the earlier Blue Ridge Crossing concept in Charlestown. So this will be taking some of that and actually building it into a much larger plan on the main campus. And there's been a lot of discussion and debate, I think, within our team and planning team around patient convenience, care coordination, and really clinical strength. And having one large comprehensive campus that is sort of a one-stop shop for patients. Also making sure that as we're adding new subspecialty care to Jefferson County and those physicians are seeing patients in the new medical office building, it will be convenient for them to also care for any inpatient needs that may come up. And we've already seen the benefit of this when we opened our new heart and vascular clinic on the Jefferson campus in late 2024. That physician is now actually able to see inpatient consults, whereas before that was more challenging and may have resulted in a patient having to be transferred up to Berkeley. Those patients now can be cared for locally at Jefferson. So really building out the community hospital of Jefferson, where the majority of care can be provided on that campus.
So I had the privilege of attending the Children's Hospital Gala recently. How'd y'all do raising money?
That was a great event. I had the opportunity to be there as well. We got to recognize an amazing family and story of one of our patients that was able to be cared for, and she was dancing on the dance floor. So it was just a really awesome night. It was our highest grossing event. We have that gala every year, and really appreciate. I don't have the final totals, but I know it's in the 6-figure range. The good news is all those funds are reinvested into our communities here, and so that money does not go down to Morgantown, to the Children's Hospital down in Morgantown. That money stays up here and gets reinvested in our pediatric programs. We have over 20 subspecialty pediatric offerings here in the Panhandle, and we're going to continue to build on that. We're also going to open up this summer the opportunity for pediatric infusion care, both oncology and non-oncologic infusions. We have about 600 kids a year right now in the Panhandle that have to drive down to Morgantown multiple times a week to get that specialty care treatment. We're now partnering with Children's of Morgantown to offer that care locally here at Berkeley on our inpatient pediatric unit. And so those kids will no longer have to drive all the way down to Morgantown. They can get that care here, and it's still under the supervision and guidance of the same specialist down in Morgantown. So they get their treatment plan set up down there, but then we can actually execute them and provide that care locally.
Well, it was an absolutely fantastic event, and I can see how it would be successful. I go to a lot of fundraisers, and they always have one of the they always have a theme, and it's fun, and it's taken all the way as far as it can go in a good way. And then there's always an impressive silent item auction opportunities.
The jungle, I believe,
yeah, it was
right?
Into the Jungle this year. But man, they have. If you like sports and if you like WVU sports, and you should.
I do. I'm wearing my WVU Mountaineers tie right now.
Sir. They always have a nice selection of WVU sports items. They had a Pete Weber autographed bowling pin, which I've been on. It wasn't successful. And if you don't know who Pete Weber is, go to YouTube. You'll like him. And then a Ric Flair autographed boot. Absolutely.
All right.
It doesn't say it was game used boot.
Woo. Yeah. Our guest.
No, it's woo.
Woo.
You're gonna get eat up.
What did I say?
You said boo.
No, I didn't say boo.
Yeah, you said boo.
It didn't. Yeah, you're
That's
gonna
not-
get
that's
beat
not
up
my-
in the comments.
That's not what my brain said. I said woo when it came out of my mouth. Boo. I didn't mean to. I was actually saying woo in my brain.
Well,
hey,
kudos to whoever put that on.
I want to go
Mark.
back to your experience, Mark, because you were involved at UPMC as well, and compare the build out at WVU Medicine to what you were involved in at UPMC,
What's UPMC?
University of Pittsburgh Medical Center.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I've been very blessed in my career to have opportunities to build new hospitals, to build new outpatient centers. When I was in Pittsburgh, we built a community hospital from scratch, from the ground up. Built a pediatric outpatient center, several adult outpatient centers. So what's nice is obviously I can carry a lot of that experience with me to these projects. But we have, I think the question is really about how do you do this successfully? It's great to kind of, have this support from the system. It's really all about execution. It's all about designing facilities that are really thoughtful and work very well for our clinicians and certainly have a great experience for our patients, as great as an experience can be when you're in a hospital. But we have a number of work groups. I think right now we have about 8 active work groups that have been working for several months on this project. And really everything from the room design. We want to standardize the room experience from our lobby to our new cafeteria area, new support spaces. How are we bringing technology into the new tower? How are we thinking about logistics and parking and, everything you could possibly imagine when you're building and you have thousands of people coming into your facility every day. You really got to make sure that you engage your team. So we have a lot of folks from nurses to physicians to our security team involved in these plans. We're working very closely with an architect right now, HED. They do a really great job. They've done a number of different bed towers and outpatient centers. So they also bring a tremendous amount of experience of kind of what's cutting edge, what are the new design features that we're thinking about. And then obviously we also have to be thinking about all the supply chain disruption and things that we need to order sooner than later. We talk about a timeline and the ability to execute quickly on projects. We want to make sure that if we're getting steel or we're getting different materials, that those things are ordered upfront quickly. We have a new pedestrian bridge that is also going to be installed as part of our expanded campus here at Berkeley. We already ordered that bridge. It's being pre-manufactured, so then it'll be craned in. And so, again, a lot of these things obviously take a tremendous team and expertise, in making sure that we execute successfully. And then, when you think about Jefferson's campus, and both campuses needing additional parking and needing some of that. Looking at ways that we're going to expand the campus footprint. We have the bank building in front of the campus that we're looking at. Does that continue to make sense there? I think folks will see from the renderings that we're going to have a really nice front door entry point for both campuses, and so that's intentional too. And we want to make sure, for example, up at Berkeley, we have an outpatient pharmacy, very busy with a drive-through. As we look at permanent locations for that kind of traffic, where does that make sense? Really trying to segment a little bit of our populations in terms of inpatient activity, outpatient activity, making sure those things are in the right locations conveniently for our patients. There's a ton of planning, a lot of work that goes into it. I would say the key from my perspective is that we have good structure, organization. We just had a town hall, actually. We had over 275 of our associates able to join that and had a nice Q&A. And that, when you start asking questions of the team, they actually give you great things to think about. Did we think about this, that? What are the hours of the shuttle, et cetera? So all of that is active and in planning, and the team's doing an excellent job.
Is Berkeley Medical Center a level 1 trauma center? And if not, are there plans to raise it to that?
Yeah, so we're a level 3 trauma center. We look at that. It's really driven on volumes. It's driven on the capabilities that we have on the campus. I think as we go forward, we will certainly continue to evaluate programs that we offer, the need for a level 1 trauma. And again, that's going to be driven on volumes. And you want to make sure if you have that infrastructure in place that you have enough activity to keep that expertise proficient, competent, et cetera. But no plans to change our trauma level currently. We're a very, very strong level 3. We just got a re-accreditation, the trauma team. So we have obviously available trauma surgeons 24/7 as needed. And then we're looking at other program expansions too. As you guys know, we advanced our interventional stroke program. So now we're doing interventions on these patients as opposed to having to transfer those patients out. We have a brand new interventional neuroradiology suite. We just opened our hybrid OR last week, did our first case in there, and that operating room is actually designed to be able to do open heart surgery in the future, and that is part of our planning. And so we have, if you look across the board at a variety of our specialties, we have lots of active planning and discussions to continue to expand. And the goal, and I continue to focus and talk about this, is we want to be able to provide expert care locally. We want to make sure that our patients can get everything that they need between Jefferson, Berkeley County, and all of our outpatient centers and not have to leave the region. And that is my goal, my ambition. 90-95% of things that we ever need to do on a patient can be done here and done in great coordination with Morgantown, our academic medical center hub, creating a hub out here, around Berkeley and Jefferson.
Mark, thanks so much for your time this morning. Greatly appreciated. 30 seconds. Any parking concerns once again with the expansion? I know a couple folks have texted me and asked me about that again.
Yeah, again, parking, we're going to add over 450 additional parking spots. That's a significant amount of parking, and we feel very, very good. That will give us a runway. Similarly, at Jefferson, we have probably about 300 additional parking spots over the next couple of years that we're going to create. So parking will not be an issue. That is my commitment to our communities. But you have my number, and you can get a hold of me. But it will take a little bit of time. So appreciate everybody's patience. In the meantime, we will do everything on a daily basis to make sure folks get in and out of our campus safely and as easy as possible.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate your time today.